Hello, this is Carl back, and today we are at the search reader in Carl's Bible Power. Today, I'm going to go over what happens after you make a search. The search engine, go back, we'll make our search. And I'm just going to go the first 10 books of the Bible with the numeric search, or the first 10 verses of the Bible. Sorry about that. And it brings us here with our 10 verses. Right now, we went over this trim and sequential options, and we also touched on this font size, which we can adjust to whatever we like. Now, there's this other one called context down here at the bottom, which we didn't go over. And what that's going to do, it's going to bring up the context dialog. We're still in the search reader, and as you can see, this one that's in red, this is our current verse, the one that we're working with. And I'm going to use the keys, the keyboard with the square bracket, the right square bracket. And you can see up here, we are actually flipping through the verses now. And here's 5 of 10. And you can see this red verse is actually going down as we're reading through them. And now, what it's doing, it's pulling out 7 verses in front of our current verse. And it's putting in, well, let's make it really easy on myself, 9 verses after it. So we actually have the context of these verses. We can see what's before and what's after. In this context dialog, we have the close button. This here is our current verse, Genesis 1:10. If I click this, it'll take me to the Bible reader, like so. And here we are, Genesis 1:10 in the Bible reader. Go back to the search results. Now to get my Bible verse back into the context, I just click on the Go button, or I can press Alt-G. You can see the G is underlined. Alt-G. In this context dialog, this actually occurs in different places. You can pick this up from a whole bunch of different places in the Bible program. So I may as well just go over it right now. Right here, you can append this entire context just by clicking one of these lists up here, if that's what you want to do. Over here, you can append this, and this says to the clipboard. Now, if we close this, we can look over here at our append. It's set up to the clipboard. If I set this on verse 3, click Go. Now it's telling me append to save 3 list. You see that? This here will put me into Bible Compare. This here will take me to verse 1:3 in the Bible Reader. This will put verse 3 into the Phrase Maker. The topics. I can click on this. It says we have 3 topics for Genesis 1:1. So I can click on this. Right in here are my 3 verses that I have for Genesis 1:1. Genesis 1:2 has these verses. Genesis 1:3 has these verses. Now let's say I wanted to link these 3 together as a topic. I would just click on the plus, and then I could click on this plus, and I could click on this plus. And what that's going to do, that's going to add these 3 topics together into one link, and I'm going to push finish and close. So now when I click on topics, I'm saying Genesis 3 and 2. The reason 1's not in here is because this is Genesis 1:1. Now when I click on the topics for Genesis 2, it has 3 and 1. And you'll notice that I clicked 1 first, so 1 came here to the top of this list, and then went to 2, but it didn't put 2 in here because this is 2. Then I went to 3, so it's putting them in, I don't know if you want to call it upside down order, but the ones that I clicked last end up at the top. And then when I do for 3, I see 2 and 1. So close that out. I'm going to switch this back to 32 where I like it. Okay, there may come a time when you're like in a certain Bible verse and you want to add something. You don't have to add something to your topics from the context. You have different options here. So let's go to number 10. Let's see what our topics are for 10. We have 4, 5, and 8. So let's try a different one. Let's try 9. See what these topics are. Okay, we don't have anything below 9. So let's add to 9. We're going to click the plus sign because we're adding to 9. We'll close and add more. And we'll add on 8. And we'll add on 7. And we'll add on 6. And let's just say we closed that out, but we wanted to, we thought we wanted to add more, but we don't. So we just hit this equals and it'll bring this back up. And we can see we have 9, 8, 7, and 6. They're all added. If I let's say I want to remove 8. I can remove 8. So now we have 9, 7, and 6. Okay, so now I'm going to click the finish and close button. And let's see what happens when we go to verse 9. In verse 9, we select our topics. And we added 7 and 6. Remember, 8 we removed. When we go to 8, 8 was removed. So it doesn't have 9 and 7 in here, or 6. When we go to 7, here we have 9 and 6. Remember, 9 was it, and we had 6. And then when we go to 7, we have 9 there also, and 7. Okay. Well, that kind of wraps up for the topics. Our next dialogue is the save dialogue. That brings down here a drop down with my list where I can save my search results. This only saves search results. It doesn't transfer from list to list, just search results. So if I select save 1, save 2, or save 3, let's go save 3. And I want to save these 10 verses. I can overwrite the 94 verses in my save 3 list, or I can append them to the 94 verses. So right now I'm going to overwrite my save 3 list with these 10 current search results. And it drops down this dialog, asks me if that's really what I want to do. And down here you can see it says overwrite the 94 in my save 3 with the current 10. Say yes. Now it's only showing me I have the 10 verses. Now let me go back to the, I want to show you something else. Let me go to my recent searches. And this is the near one with Jonathan, David, and Saul. And let's load that and do the search. Actually, let me go back here. I just wanted to explain. When this is set up, if I wanted to do to append this to my other search results, you can see the dialog is telling me you cannot append verses while performing a standard near or a numerical search or a numerical near search. You can save your search results to a different list. So that's what I did. I put them on save 3. Then do a near search and append the results to the list you just saved, to the list you saved the other ones to. So let me go back to my reader. And I have those 99 verses here. And we put them on save 3 list. It's telling me I have 10. No, I want to append them. So then I will have, it asks me if I want to append. And it says, yes, now I have 109 on my save 3 list. So that's the way you can get around doing the appending with near searches as well. Now, also in this save dialog box, we have this add to verse selection to game update file. Okay, the game update file, this is actually more advanced, and I'm not actually even sure this part of the program's working. It used to work like years ago, but this is more for people who have websites. So I'm not going to get into that right now. That'll be a separate session. Okay, so we can go into the phrase maker. We went over the phrase maker before in the last one. This just puts that current Bible verse right here into the phrase maker and lets me choose my phrase maker words. You know what? I should try to find a shorter. Well, let's put bigger phrases in here. And I'm going to take this filter off the common words. We're going to dissect this phrase since we're in here right now. Okay. And let me come over here. I'm going to open up a new program called TextPad. And I will paste this in here. Okay, what I'm going to do, actually, I think I will make this bigger so it's easier for you to read. Okay. Now I'm going to do a replace all to separate all the pipes. Remember, the pipe is an or, and this whole regular expression here, we look down here, you may not be able to see it, 7,450 characters to make that up. I'll close that out. We can see right in the first part, we had these square brackets, and we learned about with regular expressions that when the first character inside the square bracket is a caret, it means not any of these characters that are included in here. So it's not a lowercase a to z, an uppercase a to z, the hyphen, and the apostrophe. So if it's a character that's anyone that's not them, we can include it. That would be a space and any kind of punctuation mark. And we can include more than one. So this is going to come before the word and. Now, when we go back and we look at our search result, we can find out that the Bible verse is actually put in here, right here. We can read it this way. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, as thy soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell. So that's the whole verse. And we can check and see this here. Thy is one word. Soul is two words. Liveth is three words. O is four words. King is five words. I is six words. Cannot is seven. And tell is eight. So it's an 8-word phrase here it's trying to find. And up at the top, we can see and is the first word in the verse. And then it goes out the 8 words to against. The second word is when. So after it's looked for the first word, it puts in the pipe, says, if you can't find that phrase, how about this one? And it puts in the next phrase. And when is the second word. And you can see Saul comes over this way, Saul. So it's taking phrases one word at a time and making a whole big 8-phrase search for you. And there's 30. You can see we got Line number is up to 30 right over here. So there's 30 different phrases it pulled out of that verse that are 8 words long. That would be a lot of work to type that all in yourself, but it's doing this regular expression very long, just to help you out and make things easier. The next thing we come to is the bookmark. So if I come across a verse that I want to have a bookmarked in for my Bible reader so I can go to my bookmarks easy, I can just click on the bookmark. Now let's just say I wanted to bookmark this particular verse. I can click it. Bookmarked. And you heard it say bookmarked. Now if I try to click it again, bookmark exists. It's telling me the bookmark already exists. So we'll only add bookmarks once. There's no duplicates. And that's the same with the topics too. Whenever I add a new topic, it'll only add it to it once. So if it's already in the list, it won't add it again. The next thing here, this is all in red. You can see this all kind of goes together. When I click on See Lists, the clipboard was actually selected. When we see here, this is the drop down with the different lists, and clipboards is already selected. If I select verse 3, it goes to that one. So I come up here and I can read my verses up here through each of these lists. Whichever list I select, I can see the verses. So that's a tool that can help you decide which verse you actually have in case you didn't save it or remember what it was you were saving it for. Just actually looking through the different verses, maybe it'll ring a bell to you so you can see what it is. Remember this one here, we had the first 10 and then we did the 99 from the Samuel with the David. Then we'll close this out and line myself back up again. Okay, now this here is the append button, and these are my different verse lists. So if I wanted to append a verse, this actually just tells me that how many verses I have in here in each of these lists. But if I wanted to append something to one of these lists, I would just select the list I want it to append to, and then I could click the append button. Let's say I'm at a verse. I click the append button, or the Alt with the / key. That will append this verse to this list. Here I have an auto scroll. So let me do another search. And I'm going to go to my recents. And I want to do this search here. It's my numeric search. It's going to give me my first 10 books or first 10 verses of the Bible. And I can click auto scroll. When I'm clicking auto scroll, it's scrolling through these things here at a specific speed. And my speed selector is already selected. It's checking out how many words I have here, so I can just read along with this as it's scrolling through. And this will keep on going until it gets to the end of the search results. I can adjust the speed while it's in progress to make it faster or real slow. Depends what I want to do. But I always found 50 was probably about average speed. Now this has a checkbox here. It's called read. So while it's scrolling, or at any time really, I just click this read button. Genesis, chapter 1. And this puts in it starts putting in the playlist down here. This is the playlist. And divided the waters which were under the firmament. And we went over this audio dialogue in a different search or in a different tutorial. So I'm not going to go over this again, but I'll just click this after it gets a new verse in here. And God said, and it just shut it off instantly, just like that. And it shut off auto scroll, but didn't uncheck the read. Now I can always click go where there's read buttons on here. Genesis. And it'll read it to me. Chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And then it finished. So I'll close that out. So we went over these. Now we got this jump to. When I click on this jump to, I have 10 verses in here right now. It'll display them up here, just the references. So to make it easier for me to click on one of these and go to it right away. So this is 1.7, and just put me on 1.7. That's an easy way to do it. You can also type a number in here, like 3, go, and it'll put me on the third verse. This is the third verse in my search results, not the verse 3 or this verse 3. This is the third one in my search results. Might be a little confusing because this is the first 3 verses or first 10 verses in the Bible, but if I had something different, it would be different. The next thing I can do, I can search for a reference. So let me just type in SIS space 1:7. That'll match Genesis 1:7. I don't even have to type in anything more than the :7 to do the search. Or I could type in just the 7 because this is the first 10 verses. But just to show you that you can do a text search, it went right to Genesis 1:7. It searches the references in this instance. To the right here, we have -5, -1, +1, +5. So we're at 7 right now of our 10. So I'm going to go -5. It puts us back to 2. -1 will bring us to 1. Add 1 puts us back to 2. Add 5 puts us on to 7. This here is for changing from red text to clickable words. And this is a button that'll take me directly to the Bible reader and set up this verse for me. Click on that, goes to the Bible reader. Now I'm going to do a search called, we have 602 verses called. Now this is red text, and when I double click on this or any other word in this verse, nothing happens. When I click on this, it's going to ask me if I want to convert the list to word click. That's going to take out all the red text and make it a word clickable verse. So now when I double click on this, it pulls up the word statistics for this word, and in particular for Genesis 1:5. So in Genesis 1:5, we have a Strong's Hebrew number of 7121, and that number is also here. When I click on this number, it's just going to bring me right to this one, because sometimes you can get a whole list of these things, and it's just kind of hard to follow around. But that's not too often that happens, but you can do that. When I click on this, it'll search for those in the search dialog. And down here, this I went over in a different study, but this will open up a new window. And this one here in the first one I like the most. So I want to find out about called. Click on here, and it puts the word called right here. And has a, this is the Webster's 1828 dictionary. I can also type in, if I wanted to do a Hebrews number, I don't actually remember what those numbers were. And then I just hit go. And Hebrew, English, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it tells me different things about it. Cleave, open, break, and all these different definitions. And down here, it actually tells me the different words that it occurs and how many times it occurs. This is a really nice website. I like this one too. I can press Control W. That'll close this window and bring me back to my program. Now I'm going to close this. Okay, we're in the search reader, and there is one more thing that I want to go over with you, and that's the keyboard shortcuts. Remember, we pushed the less than key and the acute key. And that brings up our additional search reader shortcut keys. This is for the search reader only. You can open your notes and focus on it. you can show all verses context. All that does is drop back down to say context. Current verse append to bookmark list. So you don't have to click on the bookmark. You can just use these keyboard shortcuts. Close your notes. Set your font sizes for 36. So that'll just set this down to here. Now here's when you're scrolling. These are the things I use all the time. -20, +20 verses. You use the pipe and the backslash. So for the pipe, you would have to hold the shift down. So basically, if you're holding the shift down, you're going to be pushing the left bracket too. So that'll -5, and the pipe will -20. The -1 is just the square bracket, which you don't hold a shift down for. So if you're just doing one at a time, you don't hold down the shift, you can go with the left or right square bracket either way. And the curly brackets, left and right, do a -5 and a +5. And then the other one to the right of the curly brackets, the key is the pipe and the backslash for your 20 verses. It's pretty easy after you get used to it. Down below here, these are different keys where you can hold the Alt key, and it should go to all these things that it says. So that'll end it with the shortcut keys. And I believe we are done now with the search reader. The next thing we'll be talking about will be the font box. There's a lot of fun things you can do in the font box. After you've made your searches, this is where you can go to manipulate them, to play games, do other things with them. And we'll be going over that probably in like 2 or 3 different tutorials because there's a lot in there. And thank you for watching this one, and I hope you like it. Hope you like this program. Thank you.